Good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are now. Welcome to Myanmar TESOL Teacher Support Program. As we all know, Myanmar TESOL has been working on professional development for teachers, especially teaching English. As we believe, quality education starts with the quality teachers who are skillful and competent. On this purpose, we have been working with teachers and teaching professionals locally, regionally, and internationally, offering PD sessions. And before we begin, a bit of housekeeping. This session will take about an hour and will be recorded. You can make comments and ask questions and write them in the chat box. After the talk, there will be a Q&A section for about 10 minutes. Then you will be able to ask questions yourself having your microphones on. And towards the end, we'll give you a link for a Google form for needs analysis. This form will also serve as taking your names and address so that we can send back the certificates to you. Lastly, there's a request to keep all your microphones off and keep yourself mute during the session while the speaker is talking. So let me introduce our speaker. Teacher Tutuna has been helping learners to improve their English communicative skills and presentation skills since 2011. Currently, she is working for the University of Leeds in the Digital Education Enhancement team. And she also hosts the podcast Tea Leaf English, and she is the co-founder of Mo Junior. She has also delivered online workshops on the teacher pronunciations and teaching English online to teachers of English. She has completed the CELTA, the Delta, the TILEX. She finished a Master in Educational Technologies and TESOL at the University of Manchester. So, without further ado, shall we begin, and may I hand over the session to Teacher Tutuna. Teacher, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Teacher Elizabeth. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me well? You can show me thumbs up or yes in the chat and everything. Yeah, great. Today I am going to talk about my experience with how I have started using generative AI for educators. And this session is about all of us coming together in this shared space and to talk about our practices. So in a way that we're learning from each other. So I'm going to share screen now. And as usual, if you can't see the screen, let me know. Can you all see the screen? Great. So yes. Like I've said, this session is about getting started with generative AI. And to begin, I'd like to start with this warm-up activities. So can you think of as many uses of the paper clips? What can we use them for? You can think of any unusual ones as well. So please feel free to type in the chat. What can we use paper clips for? Yes, Jermaine, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Compiling papers, yes. Organizer, attachment, yes. Joining paper. To unlock the key, that would be an unusual one, yeah. Yeah, open locks. Attachment, yep. Clipping the paper. Making chains, yeah. As a hook, yes. Did you make? Yep, connect to make groups in class. Oh, that's interesting. Open the lock doors. I wonder how you could make groups, maybe colors, bookmark. Yep, can form shapes as well. Yes, thank you, Chichi. Hair clip, very creative. Phone holder, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever used that way before. Group into colors, great, thank you. So think of this first now, and we'll come back to that later at the end of the talk. Yeah, so there's so many ways we can use these paper clips. Great. Now, before we start talking, I'd like you to think about these questions that you can refer to during the webinar. So you could start thinking, what do I know about the content already? So I'd like you to think of these questions in mind as you're listening to the talk. So think about what you would like to know more about the topic. How is this relevant to your context? So think of these in mind as we listen. And today I'm going to talk about these 5 5 things. First, we'll look at the overview of artificial intelligence and Gen AI. Then we'll look at ethical consideration. Then we'll talk about practical tips and also projects and classroom activities. When we think about projects and classroom activities, we're not gonna just listen to me. We're gonna come up, because we've got like 160 participants in the room right now. So we want to hear from each other how they have started using it and things like that. And finally, Q&A as well, and a lot of discussion if we have time. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put in the chat and just drop messages. So let's start with the overview of artificial intelligence and generative AI. To talk about it, let's look at these pictures. What do all these pictures have in common? The first one is Netflix. The second one is using this app, Elsa, for pronunciation. And the third picture is self-driving cars. And the last one is using Gmail to predict the test. They all use technology. Yes, they're auto-generated. Innovative technology. Yes, Mark. AI generated. We use it. Yes, we've been using them. Yeah, we've been using them in our life. Yes. Yes, it's remote learning. No problem, Ta'u. You could watch back on YouTube as well. Great. So these are all examples of the use of artificial intelligence. So with Netflix, if you watch Netflix, you'll notice, yes, technology that we used. And if you watch Netflix, you will notice that sometimes you watch some shows like Friends, for example, and other similar shows are recommended to you. So in that sense, what is artificial intelligence then? So there has been a number of different definitions of what artificial intelligence means. But for us as educators, since we're not computer science, we might have some computer science background, but our focus is on education, then maybe we don't have to define it like really deep. Maybe we could think of it as a field which include computer science, so which combines computer science and data sets to solve problems. And we can think of as systems that can think and act like human. So we could understand artificial intelligence in that way. And generative AI then can be considered as a type of AI. As the name suggests, generate new content such as texts, images, and music. And do you know any examples of generative AI tools? Can you quickly type in the chat as well if you know? Yes, ChatGPT, a very famous one. Yep, Perplexity AI, chatbot. Quillbot, yes. Canva, yes, you could use some AI generated images and other things on Canva as well. Yes, Googlebot. Bing, yes. So these are some examples of generative AI tools. So the first one is Googlebot and ChatGPT. Cloud. Unfortunately, I think cloud cannot be used in Myanmar yet because of the regional restriction. And Bing, Copilot. So these are some examples of generative tools, and you have mentioned other tools as well. So now, again, type in the chat. Have you tried these tools then? What other tools do you know? You have mentioned WordTune and things like that. Now, in that case, can you mention how familiar are you with these tools? And what would you like to know about them? So I'll give you like 1 or 2 minutes to quickly type in the chat. And if you can't type in the chat for some reason, you can think of it in your head as well. Or write in your notebook just to start thinking. Not much, yeah, new to you. Great, if possible, we'll see a live demo as well later. So you will be able to see how it works in real life. Yes, Kai, just ChatGPT, still prefer Google. If you can you elaborate on that? You can explain a bit more why. Yes, Poewa, you normally use Grammarly and Quillbot. Yep, you check your grammars, yes. Yes, Google is to find things, yeah. And if you can, oh yeah, ChatGPT to generate ideas, yeah. Using moderation, great, thanks. Yes, Mark. Bring some ideas, ideate. Yeah. Now, some of you were saying like you still prefer Google, and does anybody want to chip in what you think is the key difference between Google and generative AI? Can anybody chip into that?
Can I share my experience again?
Yeah.
Yeah. The main difference I noticed between Google and ChatGPT is that ChatGPT is aware of the context. Yeah. Sometimes if I ask a question, it's aware of the context, and then I can ask like follow-up question. For Google, I can do like that.
Great, thanks. So Poewa, so what I've understood from you is like Google, you can find information, but with ChatGPT, you could maybe give more context, and then it will give you context or something like that, and you can generate new content. So yes, Google contains facts. Thank you, Paul. And Mark, yes, Google contains facts. Yeah, however, AI generated. Yeah, but even Google, then we might need to consider whether the facts are reliable or not. But that's a very good point, Mark, as well. And thanks, Paul. So before, good question, Justin. Is it okay to use such tools? Now, before we think about that, we are going to look at some ethical considerations then. That's a very good question. To link into my another topic, ethical considerations. What ethical considerations do we have to consider before we start using them or before we use them with our students? So, while generative AI may be powerful, right, there are certain concerns that we need to think about. So for example, transparency and oversight. How do we know these AI tools, they are owned by large corporations. So how do we know how these tools are trained, or what safeguards measures do already exist there? So how do we know that the transparency and oversight? And how do we know if there are harmful interactions? And do these corporations have safety measures? So it's kind of hard to know right now. Another one is political impact. So what if generative AI is used to spread inaccurate or discriminatory content, like biases and things like that, and environmental impact? So generative AI tools are trained with large data sets. So it means that it requires more and more energy consumption. So what about the energy use impact on the environment? So we need to consider these things. Also, what about biases? When I say bias, it's like, because large data sets are there already with biases. So generative AI tools are trained on those data sets. So how can we ensure that there is no biases? And what about privacy and data governance? So how is user data or the copyrighted materials are used? So you might have seen in the news that previously there were some legal complications because whose data and things like that. So before we start using these tools, we'll have to think about these ethical considerations. And we might even need to talk about these with our students. So now we have thought about some ethical considerations, and we have think about, okay, what if we use them? So now we can start thinking of using these tools to try. So one practical tip to get started with would be, how do we input data into those places? We're going to look at prompt writing. So prompt writing here means giving the input, giving instructions to these tools like ChatGPT. And one model you can use is the RTIM model. This model is not developed by me. It has been developed by either OpenAI, but I have seen this model before and I have used this and I find it very useful. So let's take a quick look. So RTI means role. It will be better if you define the AI's role clearly. Say, for example, act as an expert language teacher. And be explicit with the instructions. Create a 2-hour lesson plan to teach narrative tenses. And you might want to give some restrictions or specific requirements, like, what is this lesson for? The lesson is for adult and intermediate students. And give step-by-step instructions. It's like you are giving instruction in your language classes or other subject-related classes. You give instructions to your students to do step-by-step. Likewise, you can do the same with generative AI. But we need to make sure that we check the accuracy and relevance. So, have you tried this model before? Do you know any other models that you have used for prompt writing? Again, please feel free to type in the chat. No? Yes, Bunny? You haven't used it before? Not yet? Yeah? Oh, yes. Thanks, Vescoso. So please feel free to share if you have used other models as well. So the thing with generative AI is, depending on your input, like depending on your instructions, you could shape the output. Yes, you've used Zachlin. Yes, the result is very effective. So Zachi, if you know any other models, you can also please feel free to share. Yeah, you can also save all the information. Yes. Great. Now, most of you, I think, said not yet. So we're going to be a bit interactive. Can you then use the model and write your prompts in chat now? So I'll give you like 2 minutes. What is this question, or what do you want generative AI to produce? Can you now type in the chat using this model, RTRI? So I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes to think and start writing. Yes, Poewa, you have tried prompts on some free AI. Oh, yes, generated images as well. If you don't feel like sharing in the chat, you can also just write in your notebook. Yes, Swayze, research. Now, it'd be great if one of you, at least one of you of 190 people can type in the chat, because we're going to use that prompt in the next part. in the live demo. So please type in the chat as when you have finished. Yes, Amyo, Google Translation is kind of a type of AI. Now, since I'm not an expert in artificial intelligence field from computer science background, I can't go in details about what type of AI exactly is that, but it is, from what I've understood, it is a type of AI, Google Translation. Yes, you have Myanmar letters pronunciation. Oh, that's interesting. Great, Paul. So if it is right, you are the owner of a language school tile. Okay, write a job description for an office manager position. Thank you, teacher Kine. That could be one more way as well. Yes, Paul. RTI role. So what about the role then? Would you say you act as a proficient language learner and write a Banner IELTS essay? So you've got requirements. Yep, great. So I will try these two prompts, but please feel free to either try yourself later. Yeah. So let's do the live demo now. Let's see if it works in live. Right. So I've got the prompt. Okay, there you go. Right, can you see my ChatGPT platform? Like, mom, give instructions. Yes, bunny. How can I control my 15-year-old son to stop smoking? That is a very good use as well. I hope you try that, and then maybe you could try it on if you have a son. And tell us later, like either on MMTs or chat or something like that. Did it work? Okay, so let's try the first one. Benai. So I will add, maybe act as a language expert. Okay. Right, bear with me. Copy, paste. And then... Right, we need an IS topic. Okay, so let's see. Right, you could see the seconds, right? It's very quick. And now I think in the group, some of you may be IELTS examiners, so I'm not sure if this is exactly benign or not, but you can use your judgment to check the content. So as you can see, it's just a quick one. Yeah, so let's look at it again. Here. So within split seconds, you can see the content has been generated. It has got different paragraphs, it's got points. Now, from the first look, you might see, oh, wow, okay, a lot of things there. Yeah, points. So you can later judge yourself whether the content is suitable or not. But this is an example of generated content. Now, another one, I will try to check kind one. Okay, here you go. Now, here you go. So you can see a lot of, even they give you even 2 responses now here. So you can just now check and see how this information can be used. Thank you, Bunny. Just a prompt. Now it is accurate, Michael. I guess this is the part where we come in. We will have to check the reliability and the content accuracy of the content. So this is one example of using ChatGPT. And if you are interested in using ChatGPT for lesson planning, I have already delivered a webinar, and you can watch the YouTube video on MMTSAW YouTube page. And where you will see more details about lesson planning use. Since today is about more general, we might not go into detail about lesson planning. But yeah, do you have any questions so far? Any thoughts, any discussion? Nope, I guess no questions. So now, to get started with that, yeah. Yes, Kai, you see the difference with Google and ChatGPT or generative AI. It can generate content easily like that, yeah. And again, please feel free to type in questions or comments that you have in the chat. So now we have seen in kind of real life how it works. In that case, we'll just think about projects and classroom activities that we consider maybe doing in the classroom. The first thing we'll need to consider will be key things. What do you think are the key things we need to consider before we use this tool in our class with our learners? So, like I said, type in chat if you can't. If you can't, just think about it. Yes, age. Funny. Purpose, good, thank you, Shui. Pew pew, yes. Topic. Ethics, yeah, great. Gracelyn. Yep, accuracy. Grade level, yep. Content, yes, thank you, Diha. So, first age limit. We can only use, not can, but it is better to use with students who are at least 13 years old. Not it's better, it's kind of ethical for us as well. We might not want to use this with very young learners, for example. It will not be appropriate. So age limit. And if you're using AI tools with children, students under 18, you should have the parent or legal guardian's permission to use the services. Yes, Mark, thank you. Yeah, and wordings, yes, they use unfamiliar words. Yes, you're right. And unexpected errors, yes. So age limit, and another one is organization policy or guidance. some of you may be working for organizations which have strict use of AI, or like there will be guidance or policy documents. So make sure you're familiar with that before you start using them. And other things would be using trusted platforms. So make sure you choose tools that are secure and have that prioritize data privacy. And make sure that the data that you put in should be not, you might not use your students' names, age, for example, or telephone number or emails. So make sure the data, you have removed any information that can be used to identify individual students. And of course, you also want to limit sharing a lot of data. So limit data sharing, try not to share sensitive information, and you might need to teach digital literacy. So educate your students about the importance of data and teach them to be careful about the information they share online and understand the terms and conditions of the tools they use. And it's a good idea to regularly review and update your security practices. And if you have IT professionals in your school, make sure to consult with them. And after considering different things, then how can we integrate the tools in our class? So the first step, identifying the learning objectives. I think some of you have already mentioned that about learning or content. Yeah, clear instruction. Objective, good. Good IGANOs, objective and appropriation on the topic. Good. So identify why you're using this tool. What do you want your students to learn from using these tools? Is it to understand the basic? Is it to critically thinking? Is it to let learners critically think and evaluate about the output? Or is it to teach learners the ethical implication? So make sure you are clear with the learning objectives. Then based on the objective, you could choose a generative AI tool that suits your needs. For example, if your goal is to improve learners' writing skills, then a text generating tool will be useful. Or if you want to say, for example, critique the output of the images, then you could use image generator. So choose the right tool. And after that, you could plan activities. So plan specific activities. Is it to create short stories? Is it to use in a project? So plan activities using your knowledge as an educator. Then think about the guidance. Clear instructions are important here. So sometimes we think, our students are digital natives. They can use these tools easily, but maybe not. We don't know their backgrounds exactly. So make sure that we provide guidance on how to use the tool. And also, it'll be a good idea to discuss the ethics. And finally, reflect and evaluate. Always think about, okay, what went well in this class? What went wrong? How can I do it better next time? So we could think about using these things when we integrate generative AI. So we have thought about the consideration, and we have thought about these. And now I will show you sample activity that has been generated by Microsoft Copilot. So apologies for the tests on the screen. So I'll give you like 1 minute to take a quick look. If you're using phones, apologies, that might be too much. So here in split second, it can give you objective, what tools are needed. So you can even see the lesson breakdowns as well. So you want your students to enhance creative writing skills. Then you could demonstrate how to use the tool. So you could ask the students to come up with ideas like, okay, who are the characters? What's the plot? So use those points, then you could ask the students to generate the story. And while you're doing that, you could ask students to make criticism or give feedback. What do you think of the tool and things like that? Another thing I find that is useful is asking ChatGPT or Microsoft Bing Chat to think of a metaphor. So again, apologies for the tests. So as we are all teachers, we are familiar with ZPD, Zone of Proximal Development. But if you are an teacher trainer and you want to explain what ZPD is, then you could ask, okay, can you come up with metaphor to explain this term? So I'll give you like 2 minutes to read from the screen. So as you're listening, remember the 3 questions. What is this about? Do I know about this already? What do I want to know more about? How is this relevant to my context? Keep thinking of these questions. So one thing about Microsoft Copilot is you can also see the links down there, the information where it is from. So you could even go to those links and check the reliability and accuracy of the content. And of course, always use your judgment. So you could use it to think about, okay, metaphor. Can you explain it like to a 5-year-old kid? Things like that. Any questions so far? If you don't have any questions, we're going to do one activity now. So please type in the chat if you have questions. I guess you're saving questions for the last part maybe as well. So let's do this activity. If you are using your phone, can you use Padlet like this? Or if you're not using your phone, I can share you the link. So I will share the link now in chat if you're not using phone. So 1 second, bear with me. Here you go, and I will share screen again for phone users. Now, if you're using your phone to join the webinar, I guess you can think about it in using your notebook or something like that. But I hope after doing this activity, we have all the ideas that we can use in our classroom later. So this is like a community where we share knowledge. So you could think about, okay, I have tried this in my class. This is very useful. You should try this, something like that. Sharing is caring, right? So please feel free to put these questions, read the questions, and please feel free to put the answers there. So for this, I think I will give you like 3 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes. So can you access the Padlet? Yes, no. Please give me feedback. And I'm assuming you have used Padlet before. If you haven't used Padlet before, let me know. I can show you how to, it is pretty straightforward, but I can show you how to do that. So I assume you know Padlets. Yes. Oh, Win, no. Okay, I will show the Padlet screen. Have most of you got the QR code? Yes? No, Pew Pew? I'll give you then 10 more seconds, then I will show the screen of Padlet. Yes, Almuzo. If you want to use how to use AI in your teaching procedure, you could take a look at. It's not AI. It's like ChatGPT. I talked about it in the previous webinar. So please feel free to go there and watch. In there, you will see more detailed examples of lesson planning and different lessons, like vocabulary lessons and writing lessons, things like that. All right, I will now show the Padlet screen for people who are new. Oh, okay. Wow, a lot of things already. Nice, thanks for sharing. Here you go. All right, a lot of ideas there already. So what projects or activity? Yes, essay generation. Maybe model essays, as in like, right, look at these essays. What do you think of the structure and things like that? You could do that. Yes, checking grammar, but again, make sure you use your judgment and other sources. That we're not just only relying on what has been generated. Yes, skit, nice. Yes, maybe role play scripts, good idea. Project-based learning, checking their writing. Now with that, checking the writing is depending on your maybe policies, school policy as well, because they're if you check their writing, that means you're putting their data, kind of their writing into the and ChatGPT. So you might want to also consult with your school policy documents. Yeah, reports. By just searching, yeah, it will generate Grammarly data analysis. That is interesting. Grammar checking, paraphrasing, research, polishing resumes. Oh, okay. Yes, creative story writing, generating prompts. So for those of you who are new, you can just click plus here and then type your ideas there, or here click and then just type. But if you click here, then it must be everywhere. To answer this question, maybe click plus here. Right, art, yes. Thanks, okay. All right, so please feel free to refer back to the Padlet later if you want more ideas a little bit. And if you want to, you can even put the exact maybe ideas. So in my class for adult pre-intermediate, I tried this activity. I asked ChatGPT, or you can even explain a little bit more how you have tried. Okay, so we've got some ideas as well. And we're gonna now think about different roles AI can take in our language or either other classes as well. Since my background is in language education, most examples might be from language teaching perspective. So different roles AI can take. So one thing that I find useful is brainstorming buddy. So sometimes it's hard to think of ideas, right? So you're staring at this blank white paper. It can be very daunting. So it can be used as brainstorming buddy. So you could also encourage your learners that, oh, you're stuck with ideas. Maybe you could use it to brainstorm, but not to copy everything, to brainstorm. So as a brainstorming buddy. Or it can be questions generator for retrieval practice. Are you familiar with the term retrieval practice? Can anybody explain if you want to? No? Okay. Anybody want to explain, or does anyone want to explain? No? Nope. Right, so retrieval practice is one of the techniques to remember or to learn things. And I will find the link to share if we have time. It's by Rosenshine, Instructions of Learning. Okay, I should remember the name, but sorry, kind of forget. So I will send a link when I can find it in a minute. So retrieval practice is one of the learning technique when you try to recall what you have learned. So as from the name, you can guess, right? Retrieval, you retrieve information. So retrieval practice will be you learn biological concepts or something like that in last week, then in 2 days, you try to recall. So you could like, right, I have learned this concept of ZPD. Can you generate questions for me to answer? So we could use it as questions generator for retrieval practice. So like I've said, retrieval, retrieving information. Yeah, retrieval. So it's an adjective. Retrieval practice. I hope that is clear. If not, please feel free to say no, I need more information of retrieval practice. Another one is critique. So AI can be your buddy to give you criticism. Okay, this is a rubric. Do you think can you give me some feedback on my writing? So you could ask your learners to do the same before peer feedback. So you can say, right, self correction. Check yourself first, then use AI, then use your friend, something like that. So it can be a critique. Yes, Zaji, I think you're talking about retrieval practice. Yes, it's kind of formative assessment as well. Another thing is vocabulary builder. So maybe you can ask AI, right, I would like to talk about this. I'm giving presentation on this topic. Can you give me some vocabulary to use or something like that? You could enable your learners to be able to do that. Or metaphor maker. Like I've said, sometimes it's hard to explain difficult concepts. Then you could use ChatGPT to give you metaphor. So these are some of the roles that I think AI can take in your lessons with your learners. If you have other ideas, please feel free to let us know in the chat. If not, we are going to go to Q&A session. So I will try my best to answer your questions. And if I can't answer the question, I'll give you links or something like that so that you can refer back. Or there might be experts in this room as well. So please feel free to answer. So shall we have questions and answers?
Yeah, hello Tutu. This
Hi.
is me, Kind.
Yes,
Tom. Yeah, actually, I'm no longer practicing teaching, but I used to be a teacher, so now I'm back to coaching
Oh,
monks
that's
and
interesting.
nuns. Anyway,
Yes,
I'm
yes.
here today. I might be an old school, not trying to go back and negative, but when we are talking about during our days when we had calculator, we stopped practicing mathematics, normal mental math, no actual, everything on the calculator. Now with this AI thing, it's much more advancing and super quick. For example, if you want someone to write, if you just click the button, give the topic, and you got everything there. So when we are asking for critical thinking, this and that, now it won't let you think. It gives you all the idea there. Maybe it's good for fact checks, but I don't know, but how do we do that when you are looking for the material? Yes. Even when you are writing for your essays or, dissertation, small papers, they cannot, they will simply ask AI to write their papers, How do we make sure it's all coming from their own knowledge and skills?
Yes, so the question is like, how do we then kind of think about the skills, right? So I guess to me, it comes to this question: what is education for at the end of the day? Is it for us to just produce content, or is it to learn the skills by producing the content throughout the process? So to me, I completely kind of agree with you. So we can just, why are we learning? We can just, click the button and everything will be there. Do we still even need to learn? But I think as educators, what we can think of it as like skills. And yes, a calculator is useful, but to kind of to be able to use calculator, we'll still need basic, as far as I understand, we'll still need basic maths and things like that. So calculator kind of help us take some time so that we can we can spend our time and energy in other more creative aspects maybe. So to me, these tools are there so that we can use them to help us. But it might make us lazy to some extent, but it could potentially create more space so that we can do other things. I think we all talk about when internet has come out, right? Like Google. Oh, internet, we don't need library. We don't even need to read and remember things anymore. So we don't need to remember them anymore. But then we think about, okay, is this information reliable? So we need other skills. So I'm not sure if I'm kind of answering your question exactly, but what I'm trying to say is as educators, then we need to think about what is education for? How do we help learners to be able to use these skills, the process? So maybe it's not the output anymore, it's the process of building systems so that every time there's a new tool, how do we help students to use them? How do we be more flexible with the process? So in that sense, it is a good idea to be skeptical, but at the same time, we'll have to think about what is education for us? Is it about building
It's not
skills?
really skeptical. It's not really skeptical.
Yes.
Things we need to think and
about.
start working before
Yes.
it's gone too far, because there are too much information that you cannot handle over. And by the way, why is the age limit? Why 13?
For that, I think it's because, again, I'm not an expert in why 13, but it's been mentioned by OpenAI, and also EU and other educational organizations have, like you said, call for attention, or call like, is it a good thing for young people to be able to use that? Like, what are the implications? I think it's 13 because maybe young people could be kind of impressionable, and then we have to kind of make sure that there is certain ethical limits and things like that. So that's what I understand, but I don't know why exactly age 13. It could be because of the developmental stages. That's what I can't answer why.
I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah.
When you cut off that line. Anyway, thanks, Tutu. Good luck.
No, thank you, teacher Kine.
Yes, no, I'm not teacher.
Miss Kine, thank you, Miss Kine, for opening up that question. That is the question that we all have to kind of think about. Why are we learning at the end now? I mean, do we even need English teachers in the future? With Google Translate so advanced? Do we
I'm
even need to
already
learn
very
languages?
lazy after my retirement. No more reading, just Google and AI. Google is my friend now.
Yes.
So now with AI, so oh my gosh. All right.
Yes.
Go ahead. Good luck.
No, thank you, Ms. Kai. Yes, for that question. And if you have other ideas, also please feel free to contact me, and then we can also talk more about it. I'm interested in talking all about these things.
Thanks.
Thank you for the question. Yes.
Yeah. Cheers.
Okay. Right. Maths. Yes, you can also use ChatGPT and Maths, Zachi. I will need help from maths teacher for that, since I am not very good at maths. I think you can use ChatGPT and maths as well. But if any maths teachers, please feel free to answer the question for me. And Mark, how AI can help teachers in enhancing higher order thinking skills? So to me, I think is, again, using it as a buddy, like co-creating together. So Creativity. What do we mean by creativity? Maybe we need to add something. We need to subtract something. So that's one of the key thing about creativity is changing a little bit and things like that. So how can we do that? So to me, I think is using it as a buddy, like an assistant, to help you think about higher order thinking skills. But for critical thinking, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, critical thinking skills, I'm not sure much how maybe AI can give you questions. Say, for example, I want to approach this task, or I want to see if this is reliable, how can I do it? Then ChatGPT can say, right, make sure you cross-check the reference. Is it true? Who is the writer of this test? Does the writer have any underlying reasons to write this way? So you could use, you could ask ChatGPT to give you guiding questions to enhance your critical thinking skills. I hope that makes sense, Mark. Different AI gamification tools and websites. Motivation, right? For that one, I can't give you that answer right now. So if you can drop me an email, I will reply you that email, or maybe I will share with MMTSO, and MMTSO can post that links on the website, on the Facebook. So for Igano, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. I'm afraid I can't answer that question right now. How can we improve creativity skills if they are now more reliable to AI? Darling, that is a very good question. What do everybody think as well? What does everybody think? I mean, so like I've maybe said, what is creativity skills? So we could think about the process rather than the output. Say, for example, okay, create a blog post rather than thinking of or painting. We could think of the process, the skills that they will learn along the way, what creative skills that we will need. With creative skills, are we really clear about what exactly includes in creative skills? So to me, creative skills mean being able to think outside the box. Then maybe we could teach, right? Okay, the paper clips, what else can we use? Think outside the box, not just usual thinking. So maybe we could do these to increase creative skills. So instead of focusing on the output, maybe the process or the systems. And how can I apply generative AI in early years education? Mupo, thank you for the question. I think you might not use that with your learners, but you could ask game ideas, play ideas to ChatGPT for your early years education. Will the students attain the greatest knowledge they can get? If they are generative AI, that becoming their key in answering activities and such. And so what do we mean by the greatest knowledge? I think if you think about Bloom's taxonomy, the highest order thinking skill will be again, correct me if I'm wrong, the creative skills, correct? I think the highest one. Yeah, so Justin, thanks. Creative skills. Then, like I said, maybe the students might be using them to cheat answers. Okay, give me the answers only. Then you could go further, right? How do you get this answer? Maybe they might ask ChatGPT, how do they get the answer? Then you could ask them to critique the way the ChatGPT come up with answers. Do you think this one is appropriate? The steps that ChatGPT take to answer this question. What about you? What if you are just using them? What is your role will be? So people say now lately it will be like AI and human kind of working together in a way, rather than just human. And to talk about AI, I've noticed that most students are also very scared to use, not scared, they feel a bit anxious with all these tools. Some students said they will never use the tool because, like I think is like Miss Kind said, that they're scared that they will lose their creative skills or other critical thinking skills because they're relying too much on the tools. Is there an assessment of knowledge learned by adapting AI in class? Can you please rephrase your question? Assessment of knowledge learned. Miss or MPCF, could you rephrase your question?
Dudu, can I say something here?
Yes, teacher Kai.
No, it's just you, the students are sort of reluctant. And my experience with students is they actually love it. And it's not just with the English, they find it very useful. For example, the IGCSE students, they sometimes cannot solve some problem. They ask ChatGPT to solve physics or math. Then they look at the steps. And in English also, I sometimes get the AI generated answers. So of course you can tell them and go back and check. But I'm also worried, like Kaima, that they might become really lazy and then rely too much on AI. They just tweak it a little bit. They generate the idea. So you mentioned that ask AI to help you brainstorm. So what if they cannot brainstorm anymore and rely too much on AI? That's my question.
So if I rephrase your question, what if we rely too much on these tools, like even from brainstorming and anything? I think that's the questions we have all been kind of talking about since the invention of even TV. We said, oh, with the TV, the students don't need to read and they just watch TV. Or with internet, oh, they're just gonna get the information. And I think it is true to some extent. We've become a bit lazy. Say, for example, right now, I don't remember the phone numbers anymore because they are all in my phones. Or I don't remember like okay, Nidnali Day or 2 in 2 plus 2 4 kind of is hard to remember them. But then with these things, I mean, to me, then okay, we're just using the phone. We don't need to remember the phone numbers. And if we go back to basic, we might suffer. But then with that, there are other things that we may need to focus, like say, what if we don't brainstorm anymore? But then again, to go back to the question, what is education for these days? Is it about I don't know, is it about just brainstorming ideas, or what is it? I think these days maybe is being able to adapt to new situation. Maybe those skills might be needed later. Or say, I think I like your examples, teacher Kai, about using it to give the answer, right? Okay, how did you get the answer? So it's like learning from each other. So maybe human and computer interaction, human and AI working together, maybe. Because with new technologies come with new problems, then how do we solve these problems together? Maybe we might need to use our skills in those situations. Or with climate change, how do we solve the problems with these career changes? I think a lot of people have changed career lately because of all these disruption. So how do we adapt to those skills? Then maybe education is about teaching the students the resilience and the abilities. Say, for example, with AI, right? They use the tools, then they could learn maybe new things. Different opportunities will come with different risks. I think as educators, we'll have to be transparent with the student. Look, here are the risks. Here are the opportunities. Use your judgment and decide what works best for you, what is good and bad. I hope I'm, please feel free to include Makain and Miss Kain and Chikai. Yes, Miss Kain?
Yeah, just kind is fine, no Miss Kind.
Oh.
It's all right to do. Now that I'm listening to you guys, teaching champions, probably these tools, in my opinion, are good for more online sort of lifelong learning guides. Yeah, when you have the teacher material, I mean not material, when you have live teacher in front of you, that's invaluable, incomparable. Especially for remote areas when you don't have teacher figure around. Yeah, if you are learning just by yourself, lifelong learning, these can be super useful tools. But I don't think no tools can compare to live teachers as such.
Yes.
Right, Kenkai?
Yes, because
I got to support my dear teachers. They are wonderful.
I think
They are just
Teresa.
instruments, tools. They cannot supersede their people as yet. Yeah.
Yes. thank you, Kind, to contribute to that. So I don't think it's not possible that AI will not take over the world. There will not be like a Terminator version of the world yet. It is a long, long way to go. From what I have read, that is not possible to replace us yet. It will enhance or augment our roles or change our roles. We might think about, okay, what are our roles now in education? What are AI roles? What are students' roles? And combining three of us together, how do we, just one thought come into my mind that in some parts of the world, some universities ask students to create a little version of themselves, like AI version. And to do that, what they have to do is teach the AI what they know. So one of the things that people have mentioned is to be able to learn something very well, you have to teach other people. If you can teach other people, that means you know the knowledge, you have the knowledge and skills. So I forgot which universities. Some universities have asked the students to create a little chatbot or something, and they have to teach everything they know to the chatbot. So maybe that's another way. Instead of relying on AI, they are teaching AI to do things. That way they're learning together, if that makes sense. So Teresa Takami, I don't think it's possible yet, and it has been supported by a lot of AI experts as well. But they will not take over the world yet. Any other questions? If not, if you have time, I know we're a bit of a time. I have one last thing, just a quick one. I want to show you this video quickly and see, can you relate to him or her? Can you see my screen now? Yes, no?
Yes.
Great. So imagine you are Wall-E. Okay, so just a quick one. So I think we're all like Wall-E maybe now with generative AI tools. Like he was a bit confused with hula hoop or the things. I think we're like him right now. Some of us might be very excited, like, oh, what's this tool, shiny thing? Or some of us might be like, what is this kind of? Perhaps if we're like Wall-E, how do we approach these new technologies? So to end my talk, I would like to finish with with a food for thought. How can we further develop our knowledge then? So to me, I think we should take a playful approach or a playful mindset. I think when we see new tools, we maybe previously like, oh, what is this? Like, oh, let's play with this. So my tip will be to kind of play with it, like try it and see what it is. Another thing that I find is having a peer to talk to and think about, and community. Maybe you could watch webinars and like join community, or having a mentor or coach, maybe somebody who is like I+1, who is +1, maybe somebody who's into technology, maybe you could talk to them. So to end with the talk, the warm-up that we did with paper clips. We use paper clips for different things. We can use it to steal from other people by opening the lock, but then the power is on us. How do we use the tool for? To enhance us, or to what are we using the tool for? So to end my talk, we could think about the tools, not even Gen AI tools, all the technologies. What do we use them for? In a good way or in a bad way? And that is the end of my webinar.
Okay, it's time to say thank you to our speaker, Teacher Du. First, we would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude for your engaging talk on the generated AI for educators. And also your presentations were not only informative, but also truly inspiring for us, because we all have learned a lot about how to use AI generated models in our teaching, and also key thing we should consider, and also practical tips for how to use AI generated model in our teaching. And we all left this session with a deeper understanding of the transformative potential of AI in education. And also, I'm also sure that many have been inspired to explore more about the integration of AI generated model in our teaching and learning. And second, we all like to express our heartfelt thanks to all our participants for coming and joining throughout this webinar, and for your active participation too. And last but not the least, we all would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our Myanmar TESOL team members for your contribution, continuous support, and for your time and for your effort to make this webinar happen. Looking forward to seeing you all in the next webinar. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Tutu, and everyone. Thank you all.
Thank you, Kai.
Stay
And thank you, Teacher
structured.
Kai.
Have a good